No. Our elder. I call this the February 18th, 2020 Lincoln County Board of Commissioners to order. Our invocation tonight will be given by Thuston Britt, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Ryan Thomas. Ryan's an 8th grader. He's an honor roll student at Fayetteville Intermediate School, where he plays football and baseball. He's an active member of the West End Cumberland Presbyterian Church, and he's the son of Samoran and Jamie Thomas. If y'all would stand at this time, and Thuston, if you would come up, please, and Ryan, if you will come up for the pledge, please.
Please bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing this assembly to come together to bring forth the needs and demands and requests of the people of Lincoln County. We ask that you give your guidance and your strength and wisdom to the members of this commission so that they can provide the wisdom and guidance to the rest of the community with your blessings. These and other things that we ask. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Thank you, Thuston, and thank you, Ryan. At this time, if you would, answer electronic roll call. Steve, I don't think yours is. Is that it? Madam Clerk?
I have 21 commissioners present, 3 absent.
Okay. Announcements. Wednesday, March the 11th is our Legislative Appreciation Lunch in Nashville at the Cordell Hull Building. We commonly call it Hamburger Day on the Hill. It lasts from about 11 o'clock to 12:30, and I would encourage commissioners and anybody in our TV or audience present here that you can purchase tickets at the Chamber of Commerce for $20. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet our legislators and the people who work in their office. So anybody that has questions, they can call our office or the chamber. That's on Wednesday, March 11th. Also, this Thursday, we're going to start an initial meeting about our comprehensive land plan. That will be in our office at 1:30. Anybody's welcome to attend. Sam Edwards, that was here for our February the 1st meeting, and along he's bringing Rick Gregory. So anyone that wants to attend, planning and zoning, of course, will be headed that up. But I want to start encouraging the commissioners, as Mr. Edwards said, start finding out what your people in your district want in a comprehensive land plan. because once we do it, it's harder to change than getting input to begin with. So if you'll just start, when you talk with people, explain what it is, what they will do, and a lot of the infrastructure in your district is going to determine what will go there. But if you want to attend, that's this Thursday at 1:30 in our office. I think that's all the announcements, unless y'all got any questions about either of those two things. At this time, I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the January 21, 2020 meeting. Commissioner Bradford makes a motion. Commissioner Douglas seconds it. Any questions or comments on the printed minutes? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. You should have received 14 monthly committee meeting minutes and 6 quarterly ones. The library did not get those in time to get it in your packet, but we're supposed to receive those this week, and we will get those to you as soon as we do. Anybody did not receive those? Next item, school building update. Dr. Bill Heath.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Just want to give you an update on where we are with our building program at Blanche Elementary School. It's been pretty exciting to watch over the last few weeks as you can really start seeing walls go up and the floor and the structure as far as the concrete that's been laid and so forth. The only problem we have had is a few of the walls that went up came down in the storms last week. So we had a little damage out there, the construction trailer and the walls and so forth. We don't expect that to be a huge delay unless the insurance companies get into some squabble about who's paying what there. But that project has been ahead of schedule anyway, so we still feel really good about that. At Lincoln County High School, the addition of the wing out there, it's been behind schedule. We haven't been happy with that. We've been working with the folks, and then of course the weather hasn't really cooperated that much either as of late. So we're still projecting, though, that the delay would be maybe around October. Hopefully by fall break we can get that project completed of this coming year. Blanche, by the way, is still on track to open in August of 2021. The only other thing I'd like to mention to you, some of you I've mentioned this to, Stonebridge Academy. We'll be moving our pre-K from up there down to Lincoln Central Academy over the summer, so that building will be totally vacant. And if the county has a use for that, please let us know. We definitely would entertain any function for the county for that building that you may have. Thank you, guys. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Dr. Heath.
Thank you.
Next item, we need to replace Carla Buchanan, who moved, and she was a representative from District 5 on our Board of Education. We have had 2 people that have requested and agreed to serve if they were elected. That's Lavissa Green and Veronica King. And at this time, I would need nominations from the floor for either of those and anyone else that has agreed to serve. Commissioner?
I'd like to nominate Ms. King.
Okay. Miss Veronica King has been nominated and properly second. Are there any other nominations? If not, I would entertain a motion that she be elected by acclamation.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Ogle, second by Commissioner Taylor. All those in favor of her election by acclamation, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously elected. Congratulations, Ms. King. Okay. It's been called to my attention. I missed the road list. Thank you. You should have received in your packet the road list from our Superintendent of Highways. And at this time, if you have any questions of Mr. Gill, he would entertain those. If not, I'd like to have a motion for approval then. Commissioner Douglas makes the motion, Commissioner Spray seconds it. Any questions or comments on our road list? All those in favor of adoption, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. This is just, prior to the meeting, Tim Gill had got a request that we change the name of Cessna Drive to Coy Drive. This will be coming up in the future, but has to go through proper order, which would go for the road committee first. But that's been a request by Heritech, the company that's located in there. But that's just kind of a heads up information only. Next item, consideration for approval of the city's appointment of Thurston Britt to the IDB to fill the unexpired term of Russ Dixon, who resigned. That term would expire June of 2025. Okay. Commissioner Thorpe makes the motion. Commissioner Taylor seconds. Any questions or comments on this? All in favor of that appointment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Congratulations, Mr. Britt. Okay, the next four items, Director of Planning and Zoning, Ms. Nancy Harris.
Good evening, everybody. First on your agenda is a request to amend the zoning resolution to add fences and walls. There was a public hearing held earlier tonight with one comment. You should have my staff report in your packet outlining the details in the fences and walls proposal. This went before the Planning Commission on January 2nd. Any questions?
I would entertain a motion one way or the other, up or down. Okay, Commissioner Taylor makes that motion, seconded by Commissioner Hunter. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? No. Okay, let's electronic vote then, please. A yes vote in favor of approval as it's written, a no vote, it would either be put down or sent back to the Planning and Zoning. Madam Clerk?
Have 4 ayes, 17 no, and
Okay.
3 absent.
Okay. Motion fails. Next item, Ms. Harris.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I have one more item in regards to that.
Okay.
I would like to move that we refer this fencing item back to the planning commission and for that body to bring back only the section in regards to the 12-foot setback, which would be item 1 of that, for commission consideration.
Okay. That would be any fences, but you don't want the fences to be described in that motion.
That's right, just the part about having it 12 feet from the edge of the road.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Motion was made by Commissioner Cunningham, second by Commissioner Thorpe. Discussions on this item?
Would that exclude A1?
No, it wouldn't have anything to
Have
do
any
with
effect on
A1 as far as that. It would be new fences though, in any zone though, but the way it was explained before, any existing fences would not, but new fences, yes, they would be.
So that would include A1?
It would, new fences, is that correct?
If
The way
we
it's stated now?
If we removed all the other criteria that
It would,
it would include A1 if
Okay.
it comes back,
okay,
unless y'all want to exclude
okay?
it.
And I think that's part, am I right, Mr. Gill, that you would want it, new fences in agricultural areas, if they were not set back 12 feet, does inhibit you working the roads properly? Okay. Okay, everybody on board with what we're about to vote on? We're voting on to send it back with a request coming from them that it only be about the 12-foot setback from the road right-of-ways. Okay?
I've still got a
Okay.
It's
question.
from the edge of the road, not,
When you say road right of way, what are we talking about? Are we talking about from the ditch, from the center of the road, or
It's from
Are
the
we
edge
talking
of
about-
pavement,
if it's I'm sorry,
edge of pavement.
edge
Okay.
of pavement?
Is that the
Because
way you
some-
want it, Mr. Gill? Edge of pavement? Okay, edge of the travel lane. That would not be the right of way. I stand corrected,
The
Commissioner
reason
Overland.
for that is some property lines go to center line, so you can't.
Okay, all right. Everybody understand what I messed up? Okay. Okay, voting yes for this, we'll send it back to planning and zoning, and it's to set a 12-foot setback from the travel lane of the county roads. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no?
No.
Okay, let's electronic vote, please. Madam Clerk? Okay,
I have 2 no,
okay.
19 ayes.
Passes 7, was it 17-4?
19-2.
19.
19-2.
19-4, 2 against.
Yes.
All righty. It will go back and y'all can bring back the request. Okay, next item.
Second on your agenda is a request to create a new zoning district called R3, Heavy Residential District. This district is designed for areas that have infrastructure, your sewer and your water. And the reasoning for that is these are more dense lots with a smaller setback. And to accommodate that, you can't have a septic system. You have to be connected to public sewer. These are designed for areas that are dense in nature, people that normally don't want your yards. We had a public hearing earlier tonight with no comments. You should have my staff report that's very long and very detailed. I do have some pros and cons. If you want me to kind of go through those, up to you.
Do y'all want to hear those?
Okay.
Okay.
In speaking with some developers, this type of development is typically favored by residents who do not have children. These residents are either young professionals or retirees that do not want to handle the yards. Madison County Commissioner Dale Strong has commented that there's approximately 7,500 relocated FBI personnel moving into the area. Madison County hopes to have about 3,500 new homes built, leaving a need for an additional 4,000 more coming up to our area. The FBI has leased approximately 1,600 acres in Huntsville to build a new headquarters of 6 new buildings, 3 of which are already under construction. They will become a major presence in our community. Toyota Mazda is another one that's building a 3.1 million square foot new manufacturing plant in Huntsville, targeted to open early 2021 with 4,000 employees to start. Huntsville-Madison Chamber of Commerce Chairman Gary Bolton stated that the initial 4,000 employees will turn into thousands more with a 2.5 to a 2.7 multiplier for indirect jobs. That means your subcontractors, the other people that connect on to Toyota Mazda. The provisions of the proposed district stipulate that it must be connected to both public water and sewer, as I stated earlier. Individual private septic systems would not be permitted. This boosts the connection to the sewer system or will promote sewer extensions. The lots are smaller. It costs less to maintain infrastructure as you don't have that distance in between that you've got to maintain your lines. It's more condensed. Major subdivisions require a review and approval of the utility committee, and during this review, each entity checks their regulations for compliance, availability, etc. We've discussed that before as well. We do have a draft design pending approval of the R3 district that proposes approximately 150 homes. On the low end, with 150 homes based on an average of 150,000 per home, it brings an increase of approximately 135,000 in property taxes, or approximately 900 per home. A more dense development brings an increase in labor force, building materials, vehicle purchases, local shopping, and vehicle tags, just to name a few. Those were the pros. The cons, as we all are aware, we have an infrastructure problem. We need to update it. Possible solution is to implement some sort of development fee for each new dwelling to supplement either upgrading existing or construct new infrastructure. Another con would be the possibility of additional school overcrowding. Again, these types of subdivisions are not geared for people with families because the yards are minimal at best. Another possibility is the additional increase of needing law enforcement and fire protection. That would fall under that option of maybe a proposed infrastructure development fee. My last point is these people are going to move to Lincoln County whether we do this or not. We have to be prepared. It's coming, folks. So let's do our homework and let's do it right.
Okay. I'll enter.
I move we approve.
Commissioner Cunningham makes that motion. Commissioner Jean seconds it. Any discussion on this item?
Mr. Chairman,
I didn't see who.
over here.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I recognize Commissioner Bryant.
I really believe that at some point we're going to have this. I mean, I don't disagree with this particular type of zoning. I am, however, worried about some of those cons that the director has brought up. One of them being the business that I'm in, which is the school business. And I kind of figured, the 150 house development maybe, and I figured it at half a child, if it were half a child, because I know most of them are not going to have children. But we don't have a place to put a half a child right now in that particular area, and it's got to be the Park City area because that's the only place we've got sewer. So that's the area you're talking about. As everybody knows, I mean, we in those two districts, I mean, we're just about at capacity, if not at capacity. So at some point, the point I want to make is that when we, and I'm not against this, I'm going to vote for this, but we're going to have to build a $20 million school at some point. So you got to know that. Now, we started to do that out on Highway 50 a few years ago and bring that corridor, that 231, 431 corridor to Fayetteville. And that would also help the citizens in the north with some of their situations and those children having to ride a bus for a very long time. But at that particular time, this body, or not the same body, but this body did not choose to do that, which is fine. You're just going to have to do it, though. I mean, if this kind of zoning passes, then you're going to have to build a $20 million building. It just is. And one of the other things, I sit on the fire committee, and the fire committee has sweated over this for a little bit now. Talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. There's pros and cons there also. And I just, it's going to cause some issues there, whichever side of that argument you're on. We've got two sides of that we're thinking about. And I won't even bring that up now, but that's a subject for later. But I just want to make everybody aware that just from, in my opinion, I'm not speaking for the school board or the director of schools here, I just know that we have an issue even back 2 or 3 years ago where we can't hold many more children. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Any comments or questions?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I just have a question. On the sewer requirements, they have to be connected to a publicly owned sewer? Or just any sewer system?
That's a question for Ms. Harris or Mr. Tanner.
Well, I guess the other option would be a private type system, like maybe what do they call that?
Well, you can do a private system that would hold so many
Like a pep tank, that's what I was trying to think of.
biosolids treatment or drip field or those kind of things, which to me would be a problem. Because if it's built next to my property, then you're gonna have a sewer drip field. So I was just wondering if it specifically says it has to be a publicly owned sewer, or can they build their own sewer system?
I think the intent was that it was a public
was public,
system.
yeah.
Whether it's stated in there,
It does, it says public water and sanitary sewer
Okay.
service.
Thank you.
Yep,
all right,
not including individual or private.
okay.
Sorry, I had to reread.
Good questions and comments. Anything else? This electronic vote. A yes vote would be in favor of approving R3s as one of our zones. Madam Clerk?
I have 20 ayes, 1 no.
Okay. All right. Motion passes. Next item, Ms. Harris.
This is a request to call for a public hearing for the property maintenance. I think y'all might remember during our training session that we had with Sam Edwards, he suggested that just to make sure that the parliamentary procedure was correct, that it come back before this body and be voted on in the
Okay.
context that he described to us. So this is a request to
Okay.
call for public hearing for March 17th at 5:30.
Is there a motion to that effect? Commissioner Bradford makes a motion. Need a second from Commissioner Holland. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of approval for the call of the public hearing, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? Okay. Commissioner Bryant, well, it's electronic vote.
Fifteen ayes, 6 no, and 3 absent.
Okay. Call for public hearing passes. Next item, Ms. Harris.
The last one is to also call for a public hearing for accessory structure height. This would be again for March 17th at 5:30.
Okay. Do I have a motion for that public hearing call? Commissioner Hunter makes a motion, seconded by Commissioner Britt. Any questions or comments?
That is a setback from the property line, is that correct?
It is, yes.
And height of accessory buildings
Well, the
too.
setback we've already established, but this is height and then your setback
Moving further.
increases. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of calling for that public hearing, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no?
No.
It's electronic vote again. I failed to recognize the Planning and Zoning Chairman, Bruce Tanner. Thanks for joining us tonight. I know Ms. Harris appreciates your support, and we do too. So, and thank you for the job you as the chair's doing in that committee too. Madam Clerk?
17 ayes, 4 no, 3 absent.
Okay. The motion passes. Call for public hearing next month. Anything else we need to hear from Planning and Zoning at this time?
Sorry, just didn't have
Thank
my
you.
numbers. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next item, Chamber of Commerce report. Ms. Carolyn Denton.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. The Chamber is the county coordinator for the Governor's Volunteer Star Awards, and this year's recipients are Jason Nix with the adult recipient, and Shaylin Hyatt was the youth volunteer, and their picture was on the front page of the paper this week. So we're very proud of them and the service that they're providing for our community. March is Women's History Month, and for the very first time, we are going to be highlighting one of our Lincoln County women, Miss Selena Moore Holman. There will be a portrait unveiling of her. She was the president of the Women's Christian Temperance Union from 1899 to 1915. The original portrait hangs in the Tennessee State Museum, and it once hung in the state capitol. We're encouraging the public to attend this on March 5th. It will be on the courthouse bandstand at 11 o'clock. Our committee is made up of Eugene Ham, Phyllis Hicklin, Jim Black, Lucy Williams, Sandy Williams, Carol Foster, and myself. There's a program running on FPU right now and an article in the Elk Valley Times that tells more about her life, but we encourage everyone to attend that on March 5th. As Mayor Newman announced, the Hamburger Day on the Hill is coming up on March 11th. Tickets are available at the Chamber, and this includes a charter bus trip to and from Nashville and a meal and a tour of the Capitol if you would like to take part in the tour. And we appreciate our partners, Lincoln County, the City of Fayetteville, and the Lincoln County Livestock Association. And the Elk Valley Times, again, is coming to our help with a series of articles about the day that will be coming up March 11th. We're working on our community guide, so we'll be updating that and getting letters from both of our mayors and updating our committees. Our student advisory board, since my last report, have toured CNS Plastics. We had a nonprofit panel as guest speakers for them. They've just wrapped up their penny drive to benefit Junior's House Blue Ribbon Walk, and on Thursday they'll be going to Copperweld, and Shannon Danielson will be doing mock interviews with them, and we've also invited Fayetteville Main Street Board to join them. Our Don't Be Fooled annual seminar for senior adults, sponsored by the Better Business Bureau, U.S. Bank, and the Chamber, will be on April 1st at the museum. Our Breakfast Buzz, which is a networking for businesses and organizations, will be on April 9th, and that's being sponsored by First National Bank, and we ask that you call the Chamber to sign up for both of those workshops. And then Slawburger Festival is coming up on April the 18th, and vendor forms and sponsor forms are on the website, as well as contest registration, which would be the eating contest, the slaw baking contest, and other contests, and that website is slawburgerfestival.com.
Is that it?
That's my report.
That was mighty concise. Not that we wanted it to be longer, but it was so good.
Well, thank you.
Any questions or comments from Miss Carolyn? All righty, thank you very much. All right, next item, Budget Committee report. Commissioner Ogle.
Budget Committee meeting report for the February 18, 2020 regular session Board of Commissioners. Budget Committee of the County Legislative Body of Lincoln County, Tennessee met pursuant to due notice in the courthouse basement conference room on February the 4th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Members present with Steve Graham, Shirley Dangerfield, Grady Revis, Donnie Ogle, Kate Ewan, Randy Bradford, Ricky Bryant, Doug Cunningham. Others present were County Mayor Bill Newman, Finance Director Cole Bradford, County Attorney Ed Sims, Commissioner Ronald Jean, Commissioner Mark Mitchell, Commissioner Steve Spray, Commissioner Charles Hunter, Commissioner Stephanie Britt, Commissioner Glenn Douglas, Fire EMA Director Doug Campbell, Houston Matthews with Croy Engineering, and Treva Buntley with Leadership Lincoln. Item 1. County Mayor Newman presented the following items. A. Croy Engineering proposal for professional services for the Joy Glegorn Nature Reserve at Wells Hill project. Had a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Bradford, and passed unanimously. Recommend approval of the attached Croy Engineering proposal for professional services for the Joy Glegorn Nature Preserve at Wells Hill project.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Douglas makes a motion, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
B, acceptance of offer for delinquent tax property owned by the county. We had a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham, and passed unanimously to recommend approval of accepting the offer price of $500 subject to requirements identified by County Attorney Sims in the attached memo.
What's the will of the commission on this item?
Move to concur.
Commissioner Bryant makes a motion, seconded by Commissioner Young. Any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 2, Fire EMA Director Campbell presented the following items. A, surplus 1979 International to be sold. Had a motion by Commissioner Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Revis. Passed unanimously to concur with the Fire EMA Committee's recommendation of surplusing and selling the 1979 International with the sale proceeds being rebudgeted in line item 799. Note, a budget amendment will be presented once the amount is known.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Revis makes a motion, Commissioner Hunter seconds. Any questions or comments on this item prior to voting? All those in favor, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed, no. Unanimously pass. Next item, Mr.
Item
Ogle.
2B, 101 Fire EMA Budget Amendment Request. We had a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham, and passed unanimously to concur with the Fire EMA Committee's recommendation and increase account number 101-54310-316 by $10,000 and decrease 101-54310-799 by $10,000.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Bradford makes a motion, Commissioner Douglas seconds. Questions or comments on this item prior to voting? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Next item, Commissioner Ogle.
2C, presentation of a combination of department funding information that is attached. We had a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Revis, and passed unanimously to discuss this item again during the budget cycle.
Okay.
D, go ahead.
I think it would be proper for us to go ahead. We're delaying this for a request until the next budget cycle. Do I hear a motion from the commission to that to delay it to the next budget cycle? Commissioner Douglas makes a motion, seconded by Commissioner Ewan. Any questions of what we're doing here? All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 2D, surplus of Swiftwater ambulance to be sold. We had a motion by Commissioner Ogle, seconded by Commissioner Bradford, to pass unanimously to concur with the Fire EMA Committee's recommendation of surplusing and selling the Swiftwater ambulance, with the sale proceeds being rebudgeted in line item 499. Note, a budget amendment will be presented once the amount is known.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Spray makes a motion, second by Commissioner Young. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 3, County Attorney Sims and Finance Director Bradford provided the attached update on the collection of the allowance of doubtful sewer accounts. Approximately $2,000 has been collected since the accounts were picked up on the 101 General Fund. The consensus was for the County Attorney Sims and Finance Director Bradford to continue collection attempts through letters and phone calls. Go ahead.
I'm going to entertain a motion on this that we concur with that consensus that came out of budget. Commissioner Douglas makes a motion, second by Commissioner Ewan. Everybody understand what we're doing? All those in favor of that consensus, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 4, Law Enforcement Committee Chairperson Ewan presented the attached Law Enforcement Committee recommendations. A, matching funds for bulletproof vest grant. We had a motion by Commissioner Ewan, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham, and passed unanimously to recommend approval of the bulletproof vest grant in the amount of $18,770.18, with matching funds of $18,770.18, and increase 101-54-110-790 by $37,540.36, and increase 101-47-250 by $18,770.18, and decrease 101-39,000 by $18,770.18.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Thorpe makes a motion, a second by Commissioner Douglas. Any questions on this item? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 4B, funding for one additional school resource officer request. Commissioner Ewan made a motion to recommend approval of hiring one additional school resource officer. The item wasn't considered by the committee since the motion didn't receive a second.
Okay. What's the will of the commission? There was not a motion for a lack of second to come from the budget. We can pass it by or we can reject it. It's up to this body. Hearing no motion, we will pass. Okay. Your motion is going to be, okay, that failed to get a second. Okay. Is there a second to Commissioner Taylor's motion? This also fails for lack of a second. Next item, Mr. Ogle.
Item 5, Finance Director Bradford presented the following items. A, 141 General Purpose School Fund Budget Amendments. Had a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Dangerfield, passed unanimously to recommend approval of the attached 141 General Purpose School Fund Budget Amendments.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Bradford makes a motion, seconded by, who wants their name in the minutes? Commissioner Sanders, that's good, thank you. Any questions or comments on this amendment? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Unanimously approved. Next item.
Item 5B, 143 Cafeteria Fund Budget Amendments. Had a motion by Commissioner Ogle, seconded by Commissioner Dangerfield, and passed unanimously to recommend approval of the attached 143 Cafeteria Fund Budget Amendments.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Revis makes that motion, seconded by Commissioner Young. Any questions or comments on this amendment? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 5C, 146 Extended School Program Fund Budget Amendments. We had a motion by Commissioner Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Revis, and passed unanimously to recommend approval of the attached 146 Extended School Program Fund Budget Amendments.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Taylor makes a motion, seconded by Commissioner Douglas. Any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 5D, 177 and 178 School Building Program Fund Budget Amendments. Had a motion by Commissioner Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Dangerfield, and passed unanimously to recommend approval of the attached 177 and 178 fund budget amendments.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Hunter makes a motion. Commissioner Taylor seconds. Any questions or comments on this amendment? All those in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 5E, we had a report from the jail window project update, which is an information item. And F, we had a junior house lease agreement extension. Motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Ewing, and passed unanimously. Recommend approval of the attached junior house lease agreement extension.
What's the will on the junior house lease agreement motion? Commissioner Bryant makes a motion, seconded by Commissioner Ewing. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 5G, highway fund surplus equipment to be sold. Had a motion by Commissioner Revis, seconded by Commissioner Ewing, and passed unanimously to recommend approval of the attached highway fund equipment to be surplus and sold.
What's the will of the commission on this item? Commissioner Mitchell makes that motion, seconded by Commissioner Young. All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 5H, fiscal year 2021 budget preparation instructions for the departments is attached, and it was an information item. And item I, the financial reports are attached. We had a motion by Commissioner Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Dangerfield, and passed unanimously to acknowledge receipt of the attached financial reports.
Would like a motion acknowledging receipt of those at this time, please. Commissioner Bradford makes the motion, seconded by Commissioner Hunter. All those that got them, please say aye. Aye. If you didn't, say no. They got them. Commissioner Ogle.
Item 6, there being no further business be presented, we had a motion by Commissioner Bryant, seconded by Commissioner Bradford, and passed to adjourn. Respectfully submitted to the February 2020 regular session of the county legislative body. Steve Graham, chairman. Donnie Ogle, secretary. Cole Bradford, recording secretary. That's all we have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Ogle. Next item, our notary publics. Madam Clerk.
Pam Gentry and Michelle Mitchell by Commissioner Young, Melissa Purtle by Commissioner Martinez.
Okay. Any additions to those we need to add? I would entertain a motion for the approval of those mentioned. Commissioner Thorpe makes a motion. Commissioner Holland seconds it. Any comments or questions on those named for approval for our notary publics? All those in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Unanimously approved. New business. Commissioner Britt has requested to address the commission at this time. If you would come over to the podium and address the commission.
Thank you, Mayor Newman. Fellow commissioners, I promise to be brief. The month of February has been set aside to celebrate the accomplishments and contributions of African Americans to our American society as well as to our world. None of these accomplishments by these individuals would have been possible without some sort of education, be it formal or otherwise. So at this time, I'd like to recognize those African American teachers who helped me, who took the time to teach me as well as to lead by example before me. They are Reverend Simi Sanders and Mrs. L.B. Sanders, formerly of Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church here in Fayetteville, Mrs. Lucille Wooding, Mrs. Esther Flemings, Mrs. Bobby Roseborough, Professor J.B. Winlock, and last but not least, Mrs. Ann Gardner-Eady, as well as Command Sergeant Major Robert M. Eady, who was a former member of this body representing the 5th District. It is on the shoulders of those persons that I stand here as an example that the influence of a good teacher can never be erased. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Britt. Any other new business? Commissioner Mitchell, I think he had his hand up first.
I'd like to Leslie Kimbrough.
Leslie Kimbrough has requested. Any objections to her 5 minutes? All righty, Ms. Kimbrough. I'll start the clerk when you start to speak.
Good evening. Tonight we're here to discuss the Second Amendment, which states, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." The main point of this amendment was the granting and protection of citizens' rights and the limiting of federal government powers. The men who framed our Constitution wanted to put a check on the federal government and the military so that if either gained too much power, that we as citizens would have the means and ability to defend ourselves and our communities. The right to own and carry weapons is protected by the Constitution of the United States, not our government. Our government has no authority to regulate how many guns we own or whether or not we can carry them. The concealed carry permit is actually an infringement on our rights. Any law that is made which goes against our Constitution is void, and we want our freedoms that our founding fathers set forth many years ago. We want our government where it belongs, which is out of our lives, pockets, business, and everywhere else. We want our elected officials to listen to us and speak for us. That is why we elected them. Please stand for our freedoms that were given to us via our forefathers and help us keep the powers to be where they belong. Please make a vote in making Lincoln County a Second Amendment sanctuary county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business to come before the commission at this time? Commissioner Ogle.
I wanted to mention the legislative breakfast at the Farm Bureau.
Okay.
March the 3rd.
March 3rd.
They have requested that as many commissioners as could to.
Okay. That's at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock a.m. Basement of the Farm Bureau. You do need to let them know if you're coming though, so they can prepare a fantastic meal, I would mention. So anybody can call our office or call the Farm Bureau, 433-5789. Is that right? I think it is. So that's a Saturday, March 3rd, 8 o'clock.
Most of our legislators will be present, and the Farm Bureau just wanted to be sure it had as much support as we could.
And it is a good time if you got questions of our representatives, our senators at that time. They're here. You got a little more one-on-one time, so everybody's shaking their head and.
Tuesday, March 3rd is not a Saturday.
We didn't want a big crowd to be there. So what is Saturday? That first Saturday.
First Saturday.
The 7th.
The 7th.
Let's make
I'm
it the
sorry.
7th. Then.
I don't know what I got going March 3rd.
I follow Donnie, wherever he leads me. So.
Sorry about that. I don't know what I got going March 3rd.
Saturday, March 7th. Commissioner Thorpe, there was a lot of others who was checking us on that because a lot of hands, shaking of heads. So thank you for correcting us on that. Anything else we need to bring before the commission at this time under new business? Yes, sir.
I would say just one word or two.
Okay.
Did you, Great Rivers, Commissioner 2, right on the very north end of the county. As everyone in here knows, we have a terrible time with communications, and I'd like to thank you and Brett Dye for looking at maybe getting a grant, and if there's any way that any of us can help get that grant, because believe you or not, we do not have any service in the north end of the county.
Well, the announcement last Thursday is everybody else is going to be jealous of Petersburg because y'all did get $1 million for expansion of broadband internet in that area, and I told them I gave you all the credit for it.
I say this very lightly. $1 million is an awful lot of money but it don't go very far. Thank you all.
But not making light of what you said, we're gonna step up our position in getting broadband to all the unserved and underserved and overcharged areas too. Because if you can't afford it, it doesn't do you much good if people out there have it and can't afford it. So it's one of our priorities, and we're gonna be working on it, but United got that grant, and they're gonna be serving a good portion there. I forgot the number of homes it will be serving, but that was through the USDA and Jim Tracy and the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, and we thank them for what they did. But all of us need to be aware of that we need to be getting broadband to all of our citizens. It's a real disservice for our children and those people that are trying to run a business from their homes, and there's a lot of them these days that does. But thank you, Commissioner Revis.
I do appreciate that. And even as you very well know, the second district runs, you know where it runs from.
Yes, sir.
Here to here. It's a very long distance, and we don't even have a cell phone service at Unity School. And that's
true.
just, I just wanted to thank you all for that.
Thank you. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Bradford makes a motion, second by Commissioner Douglas. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed adjournment? We're adjourned.
Ain't got nobody barking at you, better let your dog.